It's on, it's on.
Oh, it's on.
I'm recording.
Oh, now she tells me. Well, making some progress. My huge anxiety was the engines, because in the photographs you see, there's a clear one, there, with the cowling there, you see lots of struts holding the cowling to the centre of the engine sticking out. Now those struts are absent on this kit, they're just not supplied. And that's a really delicate piece of work. The engines themselves were sort of free floating. There wasn't any obvious place to put them. So what I did in the end was to put fine plastic shims on 3 of the cylinders so that they would fit into the cowlings, and I glued them inside the cowlings, this bit, with this bit protruding. Well, it's actually level with the edges to get it in the correct position, because that seemed to be the way. Otherwise they're just free floating. There was no distinct way of locating them. But what I managed to do was some separate pieces of plastic rod like this, cut small pieces just to represent those tiny struts. It's barely like the real thing at all, but at least it looks a bit busier than it did. So I'm sort of fairly happy with that. I'm just letting the glue dry now.
So that one you've just shown us, and what's underneath the clamp? Is that one also that you've just finished?
That one was a bit looser.
Okay.
It was being, so I'm just,
but it's complete.
It's complete. I'm just holding it in place while the glue dries.
Right. And you were doing something with wheels when I came in and disturbed you.
I'm beginning to mount the wheels into the landing gear.
Okay.
The landing legs are pretty vague. I've been trying to file them and carve them to a better shape, which I'm hoping I'm getting to. And they're a bit vague and woolly. They open up like scissors almost. But I'm beginning to think if I glue the tyres, the wheels in, it'll make them a bit stronger. They then mount up inside the engine nacelles underneath, with these as well.
Yeah, your hand's just covering that. So.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because it's a bit tiny, but that's all got to be located up inside. And then I've got the landing gear doors to put on. But that's a bit less. So I'm waiting for this to dry really. Then let's see. I've got a bomb sight to put in. It's quite a decent bomb sight. Tiny little fragment.
Hold still.
Of resin.
It's not even focusing on that.
No.
Oh.
Dropped it.
Right, if you hold it and I put my hand behind it, I think it will focus on.
Just about.
Yeah. Well, where does that go?
And that's got to go in here.
I see.
A little bulge. Then I will start putting the transparencies on. Now the fit of those won't be terribly good. Almost all the transparencies, bar one, I've got to have machine guns fitted before I put the transparencies on the aeroplane. So I've been putting machine guns together. I've got 6, which is the number I need.
Right.
So they've all got to be put in to themselves before the transparencies before I put them on. Though in fact, thinking about it, I think what I'm going to do is I will start doing a bit of light chipping to make it look a bit worn. So a bit of weathering with
You're going to hit it with the book.
Yeah, hit it with the book, then we. But I've got.
Or, better than that,
But I shall use ordinary HB pencil. I'm going to use a bit of silver pencil, because then I can make very fine lines. You know, where panels have been taken off so the engineers can work on the engines, and the panels get worn a bit. You know, where screwdrivers slip and that kind of thing, and where access panels have been opened, fuel covers have been lifted up. They'll all have a bit of wear, a bit of bare end minerals. So I'm going to add that in carefully. Possibly a bit more oil and exhaust staining. Having done that, especially with pencil, it'd be a little bit delicate. So what I will then do is use some satin acrylic
varnish.
I can spray the whole thing. That'll seal in the weathering and make it more durable.
But it will be matte. It won't be shiny.
Well, satin.
Oh, satin, yeah.
Satin, it'll make it far better for the transfers. I could still go on transfers on the decals. To put those on, because there's quite a lot of those to install. They'll sit better onto the surfaces with satin varnish. Then I'll have to go over it with a matte varnish afterwards. And then I suppose at that stage, it's then when I reach the point of putting the other details on.
Blimey.
Canopies with guns sticking out, that kind of thing.
So see you in August then?
September, November, you know. But it's getting there. I've you know, the worst of it was getting the bits to fit together properly. Most of that I've done, and it's looking like a Dornier 17 because you know, I've got the camouflage scheme on, which looks good, the sort of classic Luftwaffe splinter camouflage. It's been striking me, the other reason I was wanting to make a Dornier 17 is I have a piece of a real Dornier 17.
Where? You've got all those big bits of aeroplanes, and the bit that you've got of the Dornier is a tiny little label that I can come to if you can't take it off the wall. Let me come to it.
Oh, go on, you go.
And just make sure I don't trip over anything, because I can zoom on it. Take that box down. I can zoom in on it. Just about read it.
There.
Yeah.
DO17Z. That's a maker's plate.
Right.
Off the real thing.
Yeah.
My father, when he was too young as yet to join up during the war, used to go out to crashed aeroplanes all over Kent. I think with a friend who'd got a motorcycle. They'd zoom out them before the Home Guard or the police got to the crash, and he'd snaffle as much bits as possible. That's one of the snafflings. He clearly found a Dornier 17 and had that off.
But you don't know where he found that?
Not that, no.
No, wait. We'll stop this, and then I'll do, if you want to talk about your memorabilia or your father's memorabilia, I'll start again. So that's the end of the Dornier 17, isn't it?
Yes, dear.
Okay.